Hi everyone, this is Mix from Sneaks and Ball PH, and today we have a detailed review on the Nike Kyrie Low 4 Keeps You Fresh. Before we get started, if you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. I'll also leave a link to the SNBPH Sneaker Hunters Facebook group down in the description box as well, because that is a place where we talk about sneakers a lot, and that's also where I hold my monthly giveaways. Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe, because it really does help the channel out quite a lot. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the Nike Kyrie Low 4 Keeps You Fresh. The Kyrie line from Nike is definitely one of the most popular that they have. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of people really gravitate to Kyrie shoes, whether it's the main signature shoe like we saw with the Kyrie 7, the Kyrie Lows like we have for today, and even the more budget-friendly Kyrie Flytraps. I think the popularity is definitely a combination of things, because for one, Kyries are on the cheaper end of the spectrum when it comes to Nike basketball, while also performing really well. And of course, the last thing I think that contributes to the popularity of the shoes is Kyrie Irving himself. Kyrie Irving is a very shifty small guard with some of the best handles we've ever seen, and he is also super relatable because he isn't that tall or that strong, but he does have some serious superstar level skills. Then for this Kyrie Low 4 in particular, this might actually be my favorite Kyrie Low so far, because it doesn't actually feel like a downgraded version of the main signature shoe, and instead in some ways I think it might just be even better than the Kyrie 7. Then for this particular colorway, it is the Keeps You Fresh colorway, and this colorway was made to commemorate Sue Bird. If you guys don't know who Sue Bird is, she is one of the all-time great WNBA players, and is also a point guard like Kyrie, and Kyrie is actually just such a big fan of Sue Bird. As I said, she is one of the greatest WNBA players of all time because she was the #1 pick in 2002, won the WNBA championship 4 times, was an 11-time All-Star, and is also the all-time leader in assists in WNBA history. She also has a really good on-court and off-court sneaker game, which is why it's nice that Kyrie and Nike hook her up with special colorways of the Kyrie, and it's even nicer that they released those Sue Bird colorways to the public. It definitely is for me a nice looking colorway and a really promising shoe. So with that, let's get into the tech specs. For the traction on the Kyrie Low 4, it's the exact same data-driven pattern that we found on the Kyrie 7, and though I haven't used these on court, which is also impossible because we're in lockdown again, but going back to the traction, it does feel exactly the same just walking around here at home, so it'll definitely be pretty grippy and dust won't really affect it, and it will be pretty durable as well because here in the Philippines and I think the rest of Asia, the Kyrie Low 4 comes with Nike's extra durable rubber. Then for the cushion, this was probably the most surprising part of the shoe and why a lot of people are excited, because instead of having that normal zoom and file-on combination that we see on the Kyries a lot, we have full-length Cushlon on the Nike Kyrie Low 4. Cushlon is a very soft and responsive foam from Nike, and I've just really enjoyed every time that they've used Cushlon, whether it be the Kyrie 4 or the Kyrie 6, or even on more expensive shoes like the Nike LeBron 18s or the Nike Adapt BB 1.0 and 2.0. The only minor nitpick I have with the cushion is that I wish they still had Zoom Air. However, I do understand that they tried to keep the price down, so they just decided for full-length Cushlon, which I definitely think is a better cushion setup for most people because at least you have full-length impact protection and comfort. The Nike Kyrie 7 with that Zoom Turbo in the forefoot is definitely a little bit more bouncy, but with the full-length Cushlon on the Kyrie Low 4, you do get a much softer and more comfy ride, and you also get a lot more impact protection here at the heel. Then for the materials, the Nike Kyrie Low 4 does feel a little bit cheap in hand, but this is pretty much standard with all of the Kyries because normally they have good cushion and really good traction, but they cut the cost by cheaping out on the materials. The Kyrie Low 4 does have an all-textile upper, however it is a little bit different here at the front of the shoe compared to the back, because here at the front of the shoe you have this very tightly knit textile that also have this cross-stitching over the top, which I think is for additional durability, and this front part of the shoe does actually feel pretty soft and doesn't need a lot of time to break in. The part that I do think you need to break in is this back half because it seems like a very plasticky sort of ripstop looking material, and here at the mid panel it is so thin that I can actually see through it, which is something that is quite popular nowadays, but it's just really not something I'd prefer, and plus it does feel pretty plasticky, so I'm not really sure how this will feel once I start playing in it, but I do hope it breaks in because as of now it does feel a little bit crunchy and plasticky. Then here on the bottom two eyelets, you still have that finger style design from the Kyrie 7. However, I am happy that they used rubbery plastic and that they just made it one whole piece. Plus, it looks like they stitched it pretty well with the upper. That was my main issue with the Kyrie 7 because there were some durability problems with those fingers. But I think Nike did learn from that, and I think this is a better design overall. But of course, only time will tell how well these will hold up. Then for the other materials, you do have a little bit of this vinyl feeling material here on the top of the tongue and the top of the heel tab, a nice and padded neoprene sock liner and tongue, and some surprisingly premium feeling flat laces. Then I almost forgot, but you also have the stitching that acts as the Nike swoosh, and that is a very nice and premium feeling touch. The materials are definitely not the best in terms of the quality, but at least it is pretty soft here at the forefoot, and you have a few premium touches with that stitched in swoosh, as well as those flat laces. Then for fit and sizing, I did go true to size with the Kyrie Low 4, and it fits me pretty well. Those fingers that connect to the lacing definitely work to lock you in, and width-wise, they feel just right. The only issue I have with the fit is that it does feel a little bit long. However, I don't think I would have been able to go down half a size because that midfoot area would have been just too tight. And besides, it is nice and sculpted and the lockdown seems like it's pretty good, so I didn't really consider that extra length a big issue. My recommendation for the sizing is that if you have a narrow foot, try and go down half a size. But if you have a normal width foot or a wide foot, definitely go true to size. I did go with my standard size 10 and it fit me pretty perfect all throughout. I just had a little bit of extra length here at the tip of the toe. Then for the aesthetic details, here on the outsole, you actually have two colors with this pink here at the forefoot and this sort of periwinkle blue here at the midfoot and the heel. You also have Kyrie's logo here at the midfoot with this purple, and here at the heel you have the number 44, which is my Euro size. I don't really know why they put the Euro size and why they put it on the outsole, but I guess if you just quickly need to check the size of your shoe, you can see 44 and you're like, okay, convert, size 10, okay. Then the rubber comes up in typical Kyrie fashion because he does like that rounded outsole so that he has a lot of mobility. So it does come up quite a lot here at the medial side, and here on the lateral side you have it coming up in this sort of teeth, which is pretty much the same as what we saw on the Kyrie 7. Then here on the cushion you do have this green glow color, which is a very interesting shade of green and I actually really like it. And you also have quite a lot of text in there. You have his legacy is going to live on forever. You have full length Cushlon written there as well. You have engineered for Kyrie speed, which is a little bit weird because I do feel faster with Zoom Air, and maybe it should have been like engineered for Kyrie's comfort because it is Cushlon and it's really comfy. But that's just me, and you can definitely still feel fast in the shoe. But moving on to the other details, you also have hungry and humble written here at the back, which is also something that Kyrie puts on all of his shoes. Then on the upper, it is predominantly that green glow as well, but it is more vibrant here at the forefoot compared to the heel. That heel does have that white and almost transparent ripstop looking material, so it kind of dulls that green glow underneath and it doesn't pop as much as it does in the forefoot. It is a very interesting look, but I wish that they had that same textile all throughout so that green glow did look a little bit more uniform, but you know, it definitely isn't that big of a deal. Then you also have that green glow on that vinyl-like material here at the top of the heel and the top of the tongue, and you also have green on those translucent lockdown fingers, which also have an interesting pattern to them as well. Then for the other colors on the shoe, you do have pink here at this cool pattern at the heel, this light orange on the stitched in Nike swooshes on the lateral and medial side as well as the sock liner, and these magenta laces. You also have Kyrie's logo here on the left shoe, as well as hashtag Keep Shoe Fresh on the right shoe. The Keep Shoe Fresh branding on the tongue of the right shoe is definitely one of my favorite touches, as well as those stitched in Nike swooshes with that light orange, and those magenta flat laces. Then for the overall aesthetics, I just really like how the Kyrie Low 4 looks, and it's definitely in my opinion a big upgrade from the Kyrie Low 3 with that strap that kind of looked a bit awkward. And even though it shares the same overall shape as the Kyrie 7, it does look better with that lowered cut, and I really like the lockdown fingers that they put on the Kyrie Low 4 compared to the Kyrie 7. Then for this colorway in particular, I just really love the way that it looks, and they did a great job in my opinion combining all of these colors. I normally don't like green, but this very light shade of green that they're calling green glow has kind of been growing on me, and it just really looks nice, especially when you combine it with the other colors like those colors on the outsole and that light orange and magenta on the upper. Then for the price, the Nike Kyrie Low 4 retails for 5,895 pesos here in the Philippines, or $110 US. The US release date has been pushed back I think, so I'm not really sure when these are releasing. And they also haven't released the price on these in the US, but I do assume that it is $110 US. But for that price, and given that it is a whole 1,000 pesos or $20 cheaper than the Kyrie 7, I think this is definitely a smarter option compared to the Kyrie 7. I did get my pair over at Titan, so big thanks to them. And they do have both this colorway as well as the black and gold one, and I think all of the sizes are still available. So there you have it, guys. That was my detailed review on the Nike Kyrie Low 4 Keep Shoe Fresh. I will definitely try to give you guys a full performance review on these, but it is kind of hard right now because we are back in lockdown, so I can't really have any courts to play on. So we'll definitely just have to wait and see. Then once again, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot here at Sneaks and Ball PH.